Hello there and welcome to episode 13 of the Not So Casual Gamer. My name's Sam Christensen and joining me as always is Lewis Cunningham. Lewis, how are you today?
Just realised it was 13. Good thing we're not doing this on a... well, actually no, that makes no sense. Because it would have to be Friday the 13th.
It would have to be Friday the 13th. However, isn't it ironic that this was the first episode that we fully missed by a week because of me?
Well, I guess, yes, the number in general is meant to be unlucky, isn't it?
Well,
So.
maybe that's proven it. Sorry if you were expecting an episode last week. It'll be, obviously, today as you're listening to it, the magic of podcasts. And but I had a hernia and had to go for surgery, which was great fun. So it was less that it wasn't as much that I couldn't have recorded last week. It was more that if you made me laugh, I might have just burst open. So I just burst my gut laughing, kind of thing. So
I think it would have been just a stretch too far in terms of...
quite literally.
You would have had to sit and do all the episode stuff.
Yeah, it was more actually just like, doing all this stuff afterwards and editing it. But anyway, we're good now. We're feeling a bit tender, but I'm sitting in a chair and I'm relaxed and it's delightful.
Yeah.
So, but we're going to just take it easy today, more for me, more than anything else. But we realised that because of this forced, it's almost like a forced lockdown on me again, like exclusively, like isolation without having COVID.
Yeah.
Because I'm on rest, as it were. I've actually not left the flat in a week. I really need to go and get some fresh air, but I just can't walk up and down the stairs yet. Anyway,
God,
because living in a flat in Glasgow means stairs. But it means that I've been playing a lot of games, and as it turns out from you coming here today, as of you. So we've got quite a bit to talk about for sort of catching up. So we're really just going to call this a catch-up episode, just chatting.
We're going to talk a bit about Gamescom, which
there's a wee bit of news there.
It wasn't
some news to come from it.
There was nothing major in it.
Nothing major in it, but there was some stuff I was quite interested in. I actually weirdly enjoyed it as a show more than because I watched it live more than
it?
yeah.
Well, see, because I didn't really know where to begin with it because it's quite annoying the way IGN do it. They do like hours of stream before the show. So I didn't really know what was going on. So basically the way that I caught up with it was just scrolling back through all the trailers they had uploaded and going, I like the look of that, and just watching all the...
Which is probably the easiest way to do it. It's the less time-consuming way, but I realised that I didn't actually know it was on that day until an hour before, and I was scrolling through Twitter, and Call of Duty were like, oh, we're going to show Vanguard in an hour. Yeah. Tune in to Opening Night Live. And I was like, all right. So I just clicked on the Twitch stream, and it was Big Jeff Keighley just chilling there. So I was like, all right, I'll just watch this. Yeah. It was 2 hours long. It was long.
For just Call of Duty?
Oh, no, for the whole thing.
All right. Okay.
Opening Night Live was like their, E3 press conference kind of thing.
I think I saw bits of it. Mm-hmm. I put the live stream on, but didn't really know where I was or what was going on. So
yeah. So, but anyway, we'll come to that in a wee moment because there's some stuff, weirdly enough, from it that I've already been able to play that I was excited about watching it, and then have since been able to play a bit of here and there. But I'm gonna get you to start. What have you been playing in the 3-week interim?
Right. So that obviously is a big part of why there's a bit more to talk about here, despite the fact that I have. This has definitely still been a sort of semi-sabbatical.
Okay.
Because I've gotten. I know.
You told me just before we start recording how many games you're going to talk about, and the fact that you're calling it a semi-sabbatical is hilarious.
But part of that, how that works out that way, is because of my penchant.
Oh. Yeah.
For smaller games, okay?
Just hitting us with a wee penchant there. I like it. That's good.
I don't even know if that's how you...
I think it is. You're saying it correctly.
Oh, my penchant.
My penchant for indie games.
For indie games. But no, I've gone... There's been days on end where I've played nothing at all, and then I'll just jump into something either to finish it or tick it off the old Game Pass list.
Of course.
Because I have a thing. I'm not that OCD in life in general about many things, but for some wee things I am. Mm-hmm. And for me, out of sight, out of mind is a very big thing.
Fair.
It really doesn't matter at all. And eventually it would be a space thing, a hard drive issue or whatever. But really, it's more to close the chapter in my mind to be like, right, I know that I'm not that interested in this game anymore, and by deleting it and so that I don't see it on my console anymore, I know that it's done.
It's done. Yep.
And that is part of the beauty of Game Pass, and it's part of why I love it. Fantastic. And why I'm getting so much, way more than the value of the £1 for those 3 months that we've started with. It's now rolled on to the $10.99, but even for that now, so far for me, I'm like, yeah, I'm still well on board.
Yeah, I'm still like,
because the train keeps rolling, baby.
Well, less so for me, but I've got some stuff that I'm going to play, but it's been quite PlayStation heavy of late for this week, so which I'll go into. But I'm happy to hold it for, is a Back 4 Blood's going on it. Well, I'm sure we'll try that out.
I'll probably try that. I mean, obviously.
Then obviously Halo multiplayer will
all
kind
that
of keep
sort
me
of stuff.
busy for a while. And so that there's still on the horizon. There's still a lot that I know I'm going to get my
Forza Horizon 5, which I've actually I've deleted 4. Just because, because I know that there's a bunch of other things that take precedence over me giving that game time. So I'm like, well.
May as well just wait.
Just get rid of it and wait for 5.
Wait for 5. Yeah, no, that's smart, to be honest. I'll keep it installed just in case I want to drive around. I've got the Lego thing expansion for it that I've not played yet, so I'll make my way through that at some point. But anyway, so roundabout way. But what's the kind of
there's a few that have a fair bit that I'd like to talk about because I think they are interesting talking points in terms of games that have just come out or for whatever reason. But there's a few things that are, pretty throwaway as well, which I'll just kind of mention. But the first one is 12 Minutes, which has been quite a controversial game for commenters in the industry just now. It's very divisive. Yeah, it seems to be either people love it or hate it.
Love it or hate it. Yeah.
And I totally understand both sides.
Where do you fall?
Okay, so I'm immediately going to retract what I just said and say that I fall somewhere in the middle. I don't love it or hate it. I think it was all right. It was decent. No, it would be like a 7 for me.
Okay.
So I didn't realize that it was so much of a kind of janky Sims-like point and click almost.
Yeah,
you tried it, didn't you?
I've tried it, yeah. So that's kind of. I'll jump in. I'll let you talk more because I've only tried it for like half an hour.
Everything will make sense, but because I finished it, although I did use a slight help with a guide because I don't have an adventure game head.
I don't have a past with it. Do you know what I mean?
I try because I actually really like the idea of adventure games, but I always struggle. But ones that I get invested in, if I have to, I'll look up a tiny little thing just to see me through so I can... But for the vast majority of the time, I do try and figure it out for myself. And what I will say is, what is good about it is that it does really well with building intrigue through it and making you want to see, like, where is this going? And just the kind of incidental soundtrack bits that go along with it, it's pretty good. Some nice little cinematic touches or whatever. And I would say that, because there's famous actors, right?
Yes.
Their performances... So some of the industry is like, great performances from... And I'm just like, nah.
I'm shaking my head here.
You can hear the paycheck coming through their voice.
100%. That could have been any generic American man and woman's voice.
Could have been anyone.
Because that did not sound like James McAvoy and it did not sound like Daisy Ridley from Star Wars. Do you know what I mean? Like that is...
Yeah.
And Willem Dafoe sounded like Willem Dafoe, but the most phoned in...
Oh, yeah.
At least in the first, interactions that I heard in the first half hour. My main issue with it is kind of my main issue with, I sort of compared it in my mind to... when you keep failing at a boss. It doesn't happen as much nowadays. But you remember back in the day when you kept failing at a boss and then you would have to watch the cutscene again at the beginning of the boss battle over and over again?
Oh, God, yeah.
That's what was going through my mind a bit. I know you could alter it, but hearing the same bits of dialogue, like when Willem Dafoe came in over and over, I'm like, I'm getting sick of hearing the same
totally
stilted dialogue now. I can understand that will probably change the more you do, and
It doesn't really.
Oh, yeah.
But you have to you can fast forward through the dialogue,
Of course.
which helps for sure. But you do have to kind of become invested in just like the sheer idea of it, because it is, it's a kind of a different concept, and that's really, I'm someone who's more inclined to applaud somebody even trying this.
Yeah.
Because I appreciate when games do try and do something different and don't just stick to the kind of the standards and norms of control schemes.
The stuff you know.
Well, exactly, and there was enough there in terms of that, in terms of the art style and the intrigue or whatever. And the performances were fine. They're not great. They weren't bad. They
weren't bad.
They were as good as what any competent game voice actor
but
would give you.
it didn't need to be. I think the only reason it's those names is to pull people in, and it pulled me in. I have to say, it's not, I probably wouldn't have ever looked at a game like that before, but then I'm like, oh, he's from Glasgow and she's in Star Wars, and that's the Green Goblin,
it's pretty strange. But
Spider-Man 1.
Listen, it was quite janky though, and I actually got a funny story right from this game. It made me laugh out loud. So you click on things to obviously make stuff happen, point and click, and that includes characters. And there's certain situations where maybe someone's walking away from you or something. Your wife, obviously there's only 3 characters, right?
Yeah.
But you can you can click on them and you'll shout after them, sort of thing. So there's a particular bit where you could you make your wife storm out the room, sort of thing.
Okay. Yeah.
And so there's a previous loop that I did where when the cop comes in, and there's a bit of dialogue where you can make your character say "sir,"
right,
as in an inquisitive or kind of "oh, I've got something to say to you" kind of way. And but for some reason on this loop, when the wife is storming out the room, I was frantically clicking on her just to see what would happen, and it's babe, but then inexplicably in the middle of it, I got a "sir," babe, sir, babe. It's just because I recognised that from the time when he said "sir" before, and I was that was one of the best glitches I've ever.
It's just like this sort of dominatrix kind of relationship that they've got, where just she responds to
occasionally it just kind of comes just that's gonna get the attention, babe, sir, babe.
Sorry, did you just call me sir?
Yeah, it was great. But hey, it is what it is.
For those listening, sorry, I must interrupt. It is a game, 12 minutes. It's like a 12-minute loop, and my understanding, obviously you've finished it, is that you're trying to decipher some kind of mystery in such a short space of time, and that you retain the kind of roguelike, you retain the memories of. It's like a roguelike adventure game. I don't know.
By the way, just very side note on for the first time ever yesterday, I actually saw the game Rogue in action.
Oh, right, okay.
Which is where that term comes from.
Of course.
Which I hadn't even thought about until...
Now, am I right in saying that people will refer to games in that ilk as roguelike or roguelite? Have you heard roguelite before? Or am I completely missing it?
No, it's roguelike.
Right, I know that, but I'm so sure I've heard people call it roguelite, and I'm like...
Well, they're wrong.
Oh, I know, but that's why I was like, is this a different genre? Some
I mean, maybe if there's games that have light rogue, but then I feel like if rogue elements are in it, they're in it.
I know, that's what I was. Anyway, that's that. We've double tangented there, but
not a big tangent there. But I know what you mean. It isn't a roguelike though. 12 minutes.
No, but what I mean is there's I'm comparing it to how people would say for what was it, Returnal, for example. You would start at the beginning, but you would have upgrades from. A previous.
No, I know what you mean.
The guy you're playing as has memory from the previous time loop. That's kind of what I meant by that. He's not going in blind. You as the player are kind of playing through him.
You build up a bank of information to use to go and find objects so that you know they're there now or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'd say the satisfaction for me comes from just when you do figure out a sequence and you can advance it and stuff. I quite liked that, but the twists in the story ultimately end up being a bit naff.
Okay.
it's fine until it gets to the end. You're like, whatever, that's fine.
Fair enough.
But let's put it this way: I'm glad it was on Game Pass, because that is the ideal thing that I'm looking for. That when that jumps on every month, it's like I like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Where I maybe wouldn't have paid for it otherwise.
Well, and I never would have tried it. Do you know what I mean? I've not deleted it off my system. I'm not adverse to trying it more, but it was just I was not for sure not in the right headspace to play it.
Yeah,
like
it's definitely an acquired taste, and I see why many people hate it. But I do think some of the vitriol directed, because I've seen articles from big reputable places being like, 12 minutes is a terrible loop game, and I'm like, that's not fair. It's the only loop game. Like
until Deathloop.
I'd like to see you try it, dear writer, who probably has no idea how to make a game. Like, you give it a go.
I know.
You know?
That's that's the argument of critics and like being critical over a thing that they can't make themselves. But
I think there's too much sensationalism in journalism right now. So it's all for clicks. Right?
It's all for clicks. I mean, the amount of even in like a stupid sub community that I'm in of like the sort of the Warzone content creators and stuff, it is like this no recoil gun is like the oversaturated YouTube thumbnail, and it's the same thing. It's just that, but in professional article form. That's just designed to get clicks.
Sorry, an Adobe thing has come up on here, and I tried to get it away, and it's
nice.
It's fine. It hasn't. The recording's fine. Don't worry. I can keep going.
That shows that we've not uninstalled Adobe Flash Player on that because it doesn't exist anymore. But there you go. As long as the recording's fine. If it's not, we'll just cut that bit.
Yeah. God. No, it'll be fine. But to close out on 12 minutes, that will be just the little bit we talked about there in terms of it being a perfect Game Pass game. When we go to do our cost discussion episode,
yes,
that will play into it for sure.
It will for sure. What was the cost of it?
I don't know.
Which is
what I love. I love
this. Because it's not on PlayStation, so I've not even come across it on the store. So I'm gonna look it up.
I'm gonna place your bets. I'm gonna say £25.
Interesting.
Because I'm always surprised at the RRP of these types of smaller games these days. Because I remember back when Journey first came out, it was a tenner.
12 minutes. It's $25.
Okay.
It's £19.99.
£20,
yeah, £20.
So it'd be around that ballpark.
But you were technically right with the number 25 if you go by.
So consider this a nice little preamble to the cost discussion. But for example, I would have been happy in a world where I would pay for it, because I don't pay for games anymore unless they're massively on sale. Yeah, which we'll get to, because that's the PlayStation side of things, and I kind of like the fact that there's constant sales and stuff now.
Yeah,
we'll get to all that, but I would probably pay like a $10. I'd be happy if I paid a tenner for 12 minutes. Do you know what I mean?
£12, one for every minute.
Yes.
If that doesn't go to a £12 sale, then they've just ruined it. Why didn't it launch at that? Half the price, pounds match the name.
Well, it always makes you think, if it was half, would he sell? Would he? Because it's one guy that made it.
Yeah.
Would he have sold twice as many? I don't know.
Or just lost half of his money.
Jeez, yeah. Anyway, that was more than 12 minutes that we probably talked about.
It was more than 12 minutes, but that's fine. That's all good. I'll go next for my biggest sort of piece of gaming pie.
See, I love this. I'm actually really excited about the games that we've been playing right now.
Oh, I've got some really good ones here that I'm quite interested in talking about. That mean quite a lot for stuff going forward as well for me.
Might not even get to Gamescom.
No. Who knows? Let's just see. We're just going to roll with the punches. Then that's fine. We'll briefly mention more Gamescom. Just Gamescom.
Hi, welcome to Gamescom.
It's only for James.
Oh Jesus!
James McAvoy. He's the guest speaker for 12 minutes.
Coming full circle,
Anyway.
Carry on.
I played. I purchased the Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut.
Of course.
And got the PS5 upgrade because I'm a sucker.
will be discussed in cost debate.
Will be yes. Yeah, very good point. Not necessary for the upgrade, but some lovely quality of life things for sure.
Yeah.
But I did play the Iki Island expansion.
So you finished that?
Finished and completed everything on the map.
It's good?
Oh, it was great. Yeah. Like, that's... The way I kind of thought in my mind was...
So you've 100%ed that?
100%ed it.
And how long did that take?
Between like 10 and 12 hours or so.
Oh, see, if that was what the original Ghost of Tsushima game was, I'd have been all over that. I would have 100%ed it then, probably.
12 hours for Ghost, that would...
Yeah, man. Give me that Iki Island, give me that Miles Morales, feed that right into my veins, man. That's what these games should be, you know what I'm saying? Focus all your resources into making that 12 hours the best 12 hours of my damn life.
Well...
No, but that's just my...
Yeah, that was a nice, like, appetizer for me for a game like that. Like, that would be too short if it was the full game. However, the island itself is just beautiful. I sent you a screenshot.
Sent a screenshot, yeah.
Oh, there was just like, it's the same as like on the main kind of on Tsushima as well. Like there was just times you were coming over a hill and the lighting just hit right and all the flowers were coloured and...
Well, I've got a question for you then. Is it fair to say that they have possibly distilled just all of the beauty down into this neat little package? It's like, that's all you get? Because...
I caught that there. Neat little package.
Because, you'd say maybe in the main game, the island is much bigger, that you've got bigger, maybe, bits of landscape that there's not much there, for example. Whereas it's only good stuff in a small bit in Iki Island, or is that not necessarily true?
I don't think that's necessarily true. I think it offers up a lot of, but different sort of biomes to look at.
Biomes. This new term that I'm like, I didn't realise I thought that was a Returnal thing. No, apparently this is an actual term.
It's just a term. Yeah,
I did not know this.
Like weather types in a certain area and stuff like that. Like, for example, in Ghost, you've got like the 3 sections of the island, and the top one's like a snowy mountainous area. So that's like a snowy biome.
Okay, so it specifically means like weather, or
I think in a lot of circumstances it can.
Or it's just a word to distinguish very different climates in a game
and
map,
and
or
maybe the trees, the foliage, the animals, the kind of...
I get it's really nerdy, but I get it.
Well, like, you could argue with the way they do, like in Red Dead Redemption 2, for example, you've got like the snowy mountainous biome, you've got you've got the Texas, after, spoilers, I'm not going to spoil it, but after major events towards the end of the game, opens up into that kind of Texas kind of thing. Texas. Anyway, digression. I would say with Iki Island, there's some moments of like sheer beauty with that and some really interesting stuff. The bits that stand out most is that it's more coastal, and it almost kind of was like, weirdly, I don't know, it was the way it obviously isn't because it's Japanese, but it was almost kind of like Greek, as in like the blue water and like the white cliff facings, but it was like actual, but not like, in Greece it's like the white sort of buildings, down the cliffside and those sort of like hillside coastal towns and stuff.
Just looks like their flag.
Yeah, that's a great point. Maybe that was on purpose, but but the there was like a sort of main hub area in one of these like big caverns on a cliffside, and just the water, and when the sunlight was coming in, it was just absolutely stunning. It was really good. But in terms of like the story was good. In terms of a sort of side story, it was sort of more focused around. That's where Jin's father died in battle. That island, but they went to the island almost as the bad guys. Like, the samurai didn't go to defend the island, they went to attack the island. So the islanders see the Sakai name as the villain. So there's some really interesting stuff with that there. It was definitely just more Ghost of Tsushima, but it's the first time that I tell a lie. Well, no, I do tell a slight truth. I tell a half truth. It's the first time that a DLC for one of these major games has drawn me the whole way through to 100%. Except from Spider-Man. But Spider-Man's DLC came out really close after in 3-episode chunks from the main game, which was controversial, but I actually liked it because I was still playing Spider-Man and was able to...
You could argue Miles Morales is the equivalent anyway.
Kind of. Yeah, you could.
Which you 100%ed as well.
Which I also did. So maybe that's... Okay, so it's not... That is a half-truth. What I meant to compare it to more was Horizon Zero Dawn's expansion. I didn't play that until like a couple of months ago. Yeah. And I bought it when it came out. But I was like, it's just too long since I've played the game. It's a year after.
Did you ever finish that?
I think I did. I finished the story. I definitely didn't do... But when I say that, I think it was like 4 months ago or something. Yeah, no, I did.
It's too bad you didn't wait a little bit longer. You would have had 60 frames now.
I know. That was... Anyway, doesn't matter. But I didn't 100% that like I did Horizon's main game. Yeah. I just wasn't really like drawn to do that. But it doesn't mean that I like Horizon any less. But it was just going back into that world of Ghost of Tsushima and getting all the wee question marks and the bamboo strikes and the shrines and little Easter egg hidden bits just to explain, because the way that the little question marks work, and obviously in a lot of games as well, but it really does make sure that you see every bit of that map. Do you know what I mean? But not in an overwhelming way, but you'll travel to the area, you'll go on horse to this, and then you've gone through a beautiful vista to get there, and there's a nice moment for you to have.
Unless you're me, who's Mr. Golden Path.
Well, yeah, but
that's just me.
Yeah, that's fair. There was a very interesting bit where there's 3 Shrine of the Wind or something. I can't remember what they were called, but they were like puzzles that you had to figure out. But they weren't like, it was just you were at a shrine and there was like a poem, and then you had to like wear a certain type of armor and then do a certain action in front of the shrine to unlock like a new version of that armor. Yeah. But the 3 versions are Shadow of the Colossus, Bloodborne, and God of War. Like pieces of armor. Yeah. And the God of War one, you go up to the shrine and there's the white tree with the handprint on it and the axe in the tree. Oh. And I was like, this is awesome. And then you unlock it and you get this armor with Kratos's like ashen white with his red of bit up it, and it's fantastic. It was such a good Easter egg. I love that stuff.
Great fan service package.
Oh, for sure. And the Shadow of the Colossus one looks really cool. In fact, if we get a moment after, I'll show you it. But and then just the other impressive things with it is obviously just looks great. It looked great anyway, but 4K is a nice extra touch. It's 4K 60. Haptic feedback. Yeah, it's nice. It's
because I almost
not
feel
intrusive.
Like
it's not, but it just added to the sort of combat visceral kind of nature of it as well.
Well, I kind of thought that they could have really gone in on that with the fact that it's katana blades. I feel like you could have quite a defined sort of sensation there with the slicing.
The most obvious one that I felt was the galloping of the horse. You got a good like that kind of like sort of in the sort of haptics in a sort of rhythm pattern that kind of made sense. The horse seemed to be quite like a sort of focal point for upgrading in the game. You unlock like a horse like mow down ability where like you just like charge into like a group of enemies and you unlock a horse armor set that like increases the damage of it and stuff, which is cool. So totally 100% in both bits now. I feel quite tempted to actually go back and even start a new Game Plus file and just play more because I'm still wanting more. I can tell if I do that though, I definitely wouldn't finish, but I would just golden path it at that point.
Yeah,
and I would just play as much until I was done. Until I felt like I was done. So that was good. So all in all, a very very good DLC package. It was good, but it didn't need the PS5 upgrade, but I'll take it. Load times are crazy fast. Like Spider-Man impressed me at I don't know, how many seconds? Like 4 or 5 seconds to load in. Yeah. This is like click and continue or fast traveling is literally just the equivalent of like unpausing your game in certain games.
Yeah.
And you're just there. It's great. It was just such a lovely quality of life thing to just be able to like. Because when I finished the expansion, I went back to the main island and just went. I'm just gonna have a wee explore again, just like look at some of the bits and just. I'll go up here and then I'll go down here and then, just jumping about. It felt great. It was really, really good. So, a success was had with Ghost of Tsushima. I just finished it last night and it was great fun.
I'm glad you got your money's worth.
Oh yeah, I for doing the full upgrade, I definitely did because I'm still wanting more with it. Only I say only, but £25. But that's great for sort of 12 hours of fun. Although there's these archery challenges in it where you need to like shoot like 7 lanterns or something, and I don't know how like there's like bronze, silver, and gold, and it's 22 seconds for bronze. That's easy. That's no bother. Yeah. 15 seconds for silver. That was sometimes touch and go on some of them. 7 seconds for gold. I have no idea. I'm actually scared to like look up how people are getting gold on this because it must just be like I don't know how they do it.
Well, I'm glad I don't care about that stuff at all.
I know you don't. You're just like, not. Yeah, can we move on from this conversation? Is that
I'm not. Yeah, it's only getting worse. I'm not in games.
It really is.
I'm not in games to win. I'm in games to experience.
Well, you could argue.
Apart from the occasional Warzone game, once every 3 months, then I'm in it to win it.
Oh,
but only because the experience comes from winning.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Almost won one
and the
this
fun
morning.
you have along the way.
Almost won a game this morning. That was tough.
Well,
yeah, I played some this morning. Anyway.
Whenever I jump back in, we'll get our usual first game back. When for some reason that happens,
we just get put into the lower skill based matchmaking because you've not played for a while.
Hey, you still have to beat what's in front of you.
But they're just easier to beat.
Nice football analogy there.
Is it fun? Like, is it telling that I've never heard that before?
Still got to beat what's in front of you, you know.
Yeah. Right. Let's move on from that.
All right. Well,
we're at half an hour here. We're definitely just talking about the games we've been playing.
I love it. I love
it too.
I'm going to rattle off some of the kind of lesser important ones because just gets them out of the way. Played through a nice little Journey rip-off thing that jumped onto Game Pass in like a matter of, I think, 2 sessions. It was only like a 5-hour game.
I thought you were about to say 2 seconds. I was like, what?
Yeah, if the game's longer than 2 seconds, I can't
do it. Just like literally press go and then it's just like the credits start rolling.
God. No, it was, so it was called Omno, which is, it's quirky, so it's definitely a weed game.
All right.
I don't know if I did do it that way. I might have. I can't remember. It's all a bit of a haze now.
Oh, no. Haze. Oh.
In terms of what I do during that and what I don't. But no, there's like a bit more of a game to it than Journey. But it's definitely it wears it on its sleeve.
Okay.
A bit of Abzu and stuff like that. So again, probably like another 7 out of 10.
Okay.
But for me, probably like a 4 for someone else. It's like, this isn't a game. It's so boring. I liked it. I started Myst, which, if anybody knows what that is, it's actually a remake of a really old PC adventure game. It's one of Alex Hines' favourites. Shout out to Alex. He said that was a game that got him into games properly. It is, wow, yeah. I don't even know. Like, it's when we talked about adventure games earlier, this is like, you just get thrown in and it's like, you literally have to figure out, you don't get any, you just push buttons and eventually you have to figure out, so the point is, I'm waiting, Alex is going to come over and I'm actually going to play it and he's going to like be a sort of,
do that thing. Do that over there.
Yeah,
do that and then do that.
Well, I'm hoping it's not going to be just that because I want to try and kind of make sense of it myself because I'm actually very intrigued by it. This kind of nice looking remake of this game from, I think it was 1993. So that's kind of interesting. This is what I love. Like, this is honestly what's making the Xbox platform just so much more appealing than PlayStation right now, because this is the stuff that I'm after right now. Just jumping into things like that, and they're just not on PlayStation.
I'm on the flip side with it, because I do still love my Xbox and love Game Pass, but it is very much supplementary for me, because that Ghost of Tsushima DLC was better than anything I played on Xbox.
Yeah,
like for me, like it's still like all these small games, of course, and they are all on PlayStation, but getting them on Game Pass, of course, I totally understand and I agree with that. But the quality of a DLC for a Sucker Punch game to me was just,
and it is
my street.
It's apples and oranges, you know. I do find it quite fascinating. I'm just I don't know. It's like my tolerance for bigger games is just going down and down. I'll still play the main ones, but I just get really restless. You know, I get really kind of like, I've got no patience anymore. I'm just like, God, I'm going to be onto this next island or whatever in 10 hours time. That's so daunting to me.
I feel
I'm like, no, I want to experience a story in 5 hours and then move on to the next one.
I feel like we kind of started at like two different positions in our gaming. We like met in the middle for like a period of time, and now we've like swapped. You know, I'm now at the point where I'm playing games for like a longer period of time, not moving on to the next thing when I get bored.
I mean, I'm still all about immersion, but I don't know. I've talked a lot about the reasons behind that recently. We'll come back to it at some point, but I don't want to try and hark on too much about my particular philosophy. But I'm enjoying myself still.
As long as you're enjoying yourself, that's the most important part.
Yeah, it's definitely more of a mindset of like they are like interactive movies to me more now.
That's fair.
But anyway, movies. What am I, American? Again.
They call them movies because the pictures move.
Oh God, Tracy Turnblade.
We watched Hairspray the other day when I was ill.
It's fun.
It's fun. It's a fun time. Love a good musical, so we do.
For show. All right, just another little one I'm going to rattle off. And this is obviously still I've played like a bit of PES and stuff like that, but you know.
Yeah, I've been playing Warzone. You know what I mean.
I probably also had like a 20-minute session of Tony Hawk. There's usually like one of those once a week.
Same for me. Just jump in, play a couple of free skates, and jump back out. It's great. Love it.
So the only other one I'm gonna make note of here, this actually is quite funny. This does kind of still follow on from what we were just talking about. I tried Splitgate finally.
Right.
I'm not playing that game.
No.
It's just, I mean, I get it. I think it is. I understand why shooter competitive fans find it great, because it's like, that mechanic of the just adding in the portal to it. Why hasn't anyone done that before? Makes a lot of sense. But at the end of the day, it's still an arena or whatever shooter, and I can't get on board with it.
Fair.
I didn't even get through the tutorial.
Oh, seriously?
I was like, what am I doing here? This isn't for me.
Oh, wow. All right, okay.
No, I'm not. Like, literally, Warzone is the only thing that I can ever duck in and out of.
It's very different, I suppose. Yeah.
Well, I think because, in the grand scheme with Warzone, it is actually, yesterday I think I thought about this. I was like, the reason I think I maybe liked it so much to begin with, it kind of almost scratched the itch of the old Rainbow Six games.
Yeah,
it is actually more Rainbow Six than the current Rainbow Six when you think about it. It's now obviously when you get into frantic firefights, yes, okay, it's really quick. You need to be on your feet and shoot and go. But moving from position to position, it can be quite slow. It can be quite methodical, and you have to be tactical about how you're going to infiltrate.
Yeah,
because a team is camping in a
upstairs or...
Do you know what I mean? Whereas,
yeah, for sure.
I think Rainbow Six Siege is a lot quicker right from the off. It's like, well, we know this team is in that room because the level is just this room.
It's just this building,
so it's
floor,
like,
this level.
It's really intense, really kind of...
I know, that's fair. That's a good way. I don't have any previous experience, but I've not played a single Rainbow Six game ever. Yeah. So I don't have like any any sort of prior knowledge, but from what I do know about it, and from what I've seen, sort of anecdotally, I think you're onto something there.
Yeah, I just it's not something. It's too much for me. It's because obviously it's a multiplayer game, and
that's totally fair.
I'm not generally into that anyway.
Fair.
But something about that huge map in Warzone and kind of knowing that you've taken a logical route and it's gonna work out, and kind of planning out this. Yeah, it's something about that. I know I only play it once every 3 months, but
that's as long as you're happy. I realised I was having a look. You've played 6 days of Warzone.
Okay, still quite a lot for me.
I've played 26 days of Warzone. I'm 20 days ahead of you in Warzone, which is...
I actually thought it'd be more than that, to be honest with you.
I'm at like 1,000 hours or something.
So much hours.
So much hours.
I mean, even for me, what is that? 6 times 24 is 150?
6 times 24... 144, but you're over 6 days, so yeah, about 150 hours.
Wow. I don't even know. Is there any other game that I've put 150 hours into? Probably a Tony Hawk's Underground. Sims 2.
Sims 2,
yeah, Sims 2, Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 and 3, probably. Stuff like that, way back in the day. I
remember when I got an email through from PlayStation with like, your most played games this year kind of thing, like like a roundup email, like back when they did that, because you weren't able to see your playtime on PlayStation unless the game itself told you. And I remember being so impressed that I was at like 90 hours on Skate 3. And obviously I then kind of extrapolated that there would be X amount of hours on Skate 2 and X amount of hours on Skate 1, so as a franchise as a whole I must be close to 180 hours of Skate,
Jesus,
thinking that's incredible, and I'm now on over 1,000 of Warzone in just over a year, literally just over a year, like from last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
just scary.
Well, there you go.
And it's only shown signs of stopping this week because they have just launched they took out Core Battle Royale. They just took it out of this playlist rotation, so it will come back on Thursday.
Warzone.
But
which are the main...
What they've got is buybacks. Now, buybacks is that you spawn with $4,500, and if you have more than $4,500 on your person, you respawn straight away.
Oh.
Sounds great, doesn't it? Makes the game so much more hectic. The tactics are thrown out the window in buybacks because you kill a guy on a building, his teammates on the other building, he's back straight away and he comes down and like pistol pops you in the back or something and you don't hear him cut. You know what I mean? Like, and then you get to Circle 5, which for anyone that hasn't played it is like the end of the game, and there's like 50 people left. It is a total like...
Well, that's more like, what do you call it?
Like Rebirth.
Rebirth.
It's like a bigger version. It is. Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. It is more like that. And it's fun. We've won one of the games of it in a quad, and it was fun only when you have the upper hand. See, if you don't, like today, there was a game where I died like 6 times and I couldn't poke my head up above cover. It was just so annoying and I was just getting really frustrated. And I was like, if this was normal BR, I'd know where people are. If I take them out, then they need to either go and do a supply run or they need to go to a buy station and buy their mate back. And then we see the flare go up. We've got an idea of where that person is. You kill someone, you don't know if they had the money on their person to come straight back and get their guns again and take you out, especially because we snipe as well. So it's usually from a further distance. Anyway, I digress. This is the least I've played it this week. Plus also, I was in a lot of pain and I couldn't sit up to play Warzone because I don't like to recline and play Warzone.
It's all fair points.
So, but then when I was able to play it and then I saw it was just buybacks, I was like,
oh god damn.
Like I would do buybacks a little bit if it was there as well, but not quads, trios, duos and solos, all buybacks. So annoying.
Well, is what it is. We're going to ride it out, and when eventually the whole new map comes out,
looking forward to that.
I'll definitely at least try that.
Yeah.
If I don't play it before then, I'll be trying that new map.
I'm sure we'll get you in before then. I'm sure we will.
Still hoping for the native PS5, because I want those haptics. You know what I'm saying?
Oh no, get them off.
It's all about immersion for me. But
get them off. Right. Anyway, I'll talk a little bit about a game that I think you'll be. I don't know if you knew I was playing, or you maybe found out if you were on when I was playing it.
Oh, I don't know.
Riders Republic.
Well, funny you should mention that, because that is
yours?
another one of my ones. I had more to say about that than I thought I would.
How long did you play it for?
Okay, so I only briefly managed to get, a couple of hours there on the last day of the
beta.
the beta, or beta. I don't know how Scottish people are meant to say that.
Beta
Histine is what I used to take for my dizziness, but
for my piles. I don't know.
definitely not piles. Had a better night with the piles, Oh my. Okay, so this. I nearly said Descenders there. I will be talking about Descenders after this. Riders Republic. Was actually quite into the idea of this game until I played it.
Uh-oh.
No, okay, right. I actually thought I had quite a good time. It was fun,
Yep.
but for all the wrong reasons. Maybe they'll iron it out, but it was so janky, it was unbelievable.
Seriously?
See, well, okay, so most of my comparison here that I'm drawing from is the bike portion. When you feel how it controls versus Descenders is so much better.
Well, I would have said the exact opposite. I felt Descenders was so janky.
Are you serious?
100%. I loved the bike.
Wow. This is incredible.
I'm not.
We are complete opposites here.
I'm not kidding. I was really quite good at Riders Republic off the rip. Like all the tricks, manual landing, like.
I thought the control scheme was a joke.
I got it super quick. That's so
I
weird.
don't understand. It's like it was like PS1. It was like hold X on the ramp, but then press triangle when you're off it. Like,
well, no, it's effectively. It depends how you put the control scheme. If you do,
but you lose control of the camera if you do the stick.
you don't need control of the camera, but I still prefer the original one. The if you hold square and then tap square, so each button jumps, and then
I kind of got that.
and then whatever button you hit after you jump determines the direction. So if you start with square and then hit square, you'll go 180 to the left, or you'll turn to the left. Mm-hmm. Tap circle and go circle, tap triangle to go triangle, tap X to go X, or whatever. You could then combine the two, so you could do X and square and go backwards to the left and do like a sort of whatever roll they would call it, and vice versa. You could combine the buttons to do different rolls, but you needed, some of them were for bigger jumps because you needed more rotations to land it, and you could include R2, L2, or R2 and L2 with left stick motions for tricks. It worked so well for
ridiculous.
me. It worked so well for me, man. I loved it. I played the snowboarding and stuff, and I enjoyed that as well. But and like the grinding and stuff.
The only one I actually no, the bike was okay. It's a lot more of a simulation than Descenders. In terms of how it feels on mud and stuff, like it's quite the way they nuance it. It's a bit like the kind of the dirt driving games in that way, where you choose up the surface. And, but don't know. Didn't feel like I was ever in control, which is so shocking to me. How you find Descenders the opposite, because I find that to be infinitely smoother and. You just feel so in control. And actually, I went and played. I was like, let me go back and try Descenders again, just to compare and contrast. I got really, really into it this last session, to the point where it's actually one of my favourite games. I absolutely love Descenders. It's like a 9 out of 10. I think it's a genius game. I
need to play more of it then.
I think there's the perfect amount of. I think the just the core fact that it's a roguelike. It is a rogue what do you call it?
Procedurally generated.
Well, yes. Yeah, so that's kind of the main. I mean, that's not the only part of it. You can go and do pre-made tracks or whatever, but I just explored more of what the holistic view of the game and how it is as a kind of just pure biking game experience, and I'm like, they actually really have nailed it here. Yes, okay, it's not that polished, but it's an indie game. Like it to me, it does exactly what it needs to do. It just blew Riders Republic out of the water. Now maybe they will tighten up the control for the main release.
So interesting that you.
I feel.
Because I found it was a wee bit of a learning curve, but once I got it, it was like, this makes sense. I was doing like did you do any of the stunt stuff? Like there's like intricate biking courses where you're like
that was probably the most fun I had. It was one of the I know the one you mean at the main hub bit.
Main hub. It was great fun, but
fucking failed it at the last bit.
I got it. I was quite good at it. I got it like first time,
and that's the sort of thing I like. But even then, I was really struggling.
Well, I was doing the races, and the races were easy. I was bumping the difficulty up on them; they were fine. But what I found the most enjoyable was that I put the map into 3D mode, saw where more people were congregating, jumped up in a jetpack. I hadn't got like fast travel bits to it, and the jet wings because I'd unlocked them. And then just flew to that bit.
Yeah.
Put different stamps on different bits and just explored the whole map. I hardly once I finished the introduction and unlocked like the different things. I just went exploring. I went to just find little cool ramps and arenas and areas where you can just go and do tricks and stuff.
I think I really like. There's a lot to like about it. I think it looks really good.
Aye.
I like the UI. I like all that stuff, and I think all the ideas that are in it are good. I didn't actually realise there was as many things that you could ride in it though.
Oh yeah.
I thought in the lead up to the game it was like, it's just 3. And that would have made more sense to me. It's like, right, yeah, just focus on the 3 disciplines and make them really good. But I should have known better that there'd be 6 or whatever.
Well,
what I will say is definitely better than Steep. Steep
100%.
Was awful.
Yeah.
I played that for like an hour on Game Pass, and it was one of the worst things I've ever played. The Steep was terrible.
Yeah, I really weirdly and really enjoyed Riders Republic. Now, I played quite a bit of it. I don't know how much more of it. Of course, there's races and there's different events and things like that. I saw a lot of the map. Like I hardly played a race. I just explored all over.
Yeah.
How much more is the full release going to give me? I don't know. I'm going to see. I might just
kind of
wait for a sale.
Thinking. Yeah,
it's definitely a game that I do want to own at some point. Might not be a day one purchase as much as I was just saying how much I enjoyed it. Although I kind of want to play more already, so I might just get the bit of an itch and just go for it when it comes out. I'll see.
I mean, I was thinking that. No, I actually.
If it's any consolation for you, the controls got me at first. I didn't really get them at first, but once they clicked, it really made sense. And I even tried to go to the trickster mode, not the racing mode, and had to go back because the original way just made more sense in my mind.
See, I'm not that into like doing tricks in these games. That's the thing. Well, I'm more into it being a racing game almost, or like a 3D space version of Trials or something.
Okay,
where you're trying to navigate courses.
Yeah,
which is why I quite like the little
stunt
thing that we talked about. But then again, on the flip side, Descenders does that so perfectly. I'll never ever need to play.
I'll need to play more Descenders then. I'll need to try it out.
Well, sometimes in life, one man's trash is another man's.
I did not think it was trash for sure, but I just didn't. I just thought it was unpolished because I know it's an indie game. I just thought it looked awful.
Oh yeah, no, it looks terrible. But things are popping in all the time, but I guess presumably because that's part of how it built. It's a bit like No Man's Sky in that way. Mm-hmm. But see, that doesn't bother me at all.
Fair,
especially these days. It probably would have bothered me more a few years ago, but I don't.
I'll give it more of a shot.
I really don't.
I'll re-download it if I have deleted it. I can't remember if I have.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a really weird one, unexpected, possibly a bit like you with Warzone or Call of Duty in terms of it has genuinely become something that I'm going to keep going back to because I've got sponsored and everything in it. I don't know any of these brands, but I'm sponsored.
You're sponsored by Ron Hill. I don't know
whatever it is. I don't know. It just to me it just works versus Riders Republic, where I would crash into a tree or a stone and go flying. It was like glitches everywhere. God, I just felt it was so janky. But you know, with the main release and patches and stuff, it will feel more.
Yeah, this definitely. I don't mean this as like, oh, I must just be better than you at it. But what I mean is, I think like Skater XL, if you are bad at Skater XL, it looks terrible. The bail physics are awful. But when you play it correctly, which I'm not defending, I'm not saying that's a good thing. You don't come across that same kind of level of jank near to the extent. But you know me with like racing games and stuff. I don't know. I'm quite good at them. Like from the word go. So I wasn't seeing quite as much. I know kind of what you're talking about. But I didn't see quite as much of the jank. I'm
starting to wonder if there's something about the differences in the sticks as well, you know. Because it seems, when I go back onto the PS5 and I play PES, and just with this recent, I don't know if it's just this year's PES and the gameplay updates I've done, but I just feel like I don't have the same control that I used to.
Which is interesting because I got better at Warzone when I got the PS5 controller.
The sticks just don't. I think I don't know. I don't know if it's just bad luck or happenstance or whatever. But the Xbox.
You've been playing too much bloody Xbox.
I just feel more in control with the games that I'm playing on Xbox somehow. I think it's just circumstantial. But
so you're now an Xbox fanboy.
No,
and, no. I can read the subtext, read between the lines. I'll talk about The Last of Us and you can talk about Gears.
Well, one of the things I was going to try and fit in was that... Because I was going to say to you, I might just try Gears 5 solo if we're never going to get round to it.
I've still got it downloaded.
But then I thought about that and I was like, oh no, why would I do that? That sounds
boring.
like a terrible time.
It sounds like a terrible time. It's only fun when we laugh at it.
Yeah, no, I don't. I quickly discarded that idea. I was like, no, I don't want to play Gears of War solo. I think I have a worse time.
Let's just play a sit-down session ASAP, and if we are like, yeah, we're fine, and we can just tick off the list and delete it.
That's ultimately my, my selfish OCD coming in here.
Right.
I just
let's do it.
Tick that and see if these off the.
I'm still off on rest just now, so we've got time. Let's do it for sure.
I mean, we don't have to. I also don't care enough.
I know, but I've got them on mine, and I want to potentially.
I would need to download it.
Yeah, I've got mine downloaded.
All right, we'll do Gears. I don't know. We keep saying it's going to happen, it never does.
Well, you just send me a message if you want to play
it. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
Right. Okay. It's up to you. I've got it downloaded. You choose.
Yeah, it might surprise us. It might be a great time.
I mean, we had fun with 4.
Yeah.
It was utterly ridiculous and very long in the tooth. But
it got so mind-numbing near the end.
Yeah, that sequence from going to rescue Marcus onwards. Oh.
That's what I'm wary of. I just hope it's not as just repetitive and mind-numbing, but who knows?
Who knows? Well, the last thing I really want to talk about in terms of what I've been playing... actually, 2 things very, very quickly. Played a bit more Tetris Effect.
Mm-hmm.
I get Tetris more. This is like the newest thing. But do you know what I mean? Just like, oh yeah, right, something clicked. Like shapes like fell into each other. And
clicked into place.
No, but I mean, just that game is just so beautiful. Like that will stay on the console forever and just
it's
jump
small
back
enough.
Yeah. It's just really, really nice. And then... but the main thing that obviously is quite pertinent to me is that there was a PlayStation only alpha for Call of Duty Vanguard
right
at the weekend there. So I played that, had a great time for those who don't frequent.
This is multiplayer, right?
It was multiplayer. Yep. They showed at Gamescom, bring that back into play. They showed story mission, which looked great.
I was literally just thinking about, because I saw that. I actually didn't realise that's what I was watching. I can't remember if it was in the middle of something, and it was, like a sort of World War II looking thing. I was like, is this Call of Duty?
Yeah.
Like, this is the new Call of
kind
Duty.
of stealth mechanics and
Well, I think that just goes to show how much we've diverged, because you just said you thought it looked great and I thought it looked like the most boring thing I've ever seen in my life.
I don't know. I just like it looked cinematic.
I played that 15 years ago. I don't need to.
No, it's different now. It is different now.
Didn't look any different.
It is. It's not okay. Right. Anyway, that's fine. But anyway, I played the multiplayer. It wasn't the traditional multiplayer. It was just a game mode called Champion Hill, which is
Capture the Flag, or
no. It's quite interesting. It's how many teams? 8 teams of 2, and then there's a version of it with 3, so duos and trios. 8 teams of 2. Let's say the duos was out for most of the weekend. Trios came a bit later. So 8 teams of 2. A central hub with buy stations. You get money. I'll explain in a second. 4 individual 2v2 maps around it. And then timers would go down. You would then you'd get in the pre-game lobby, you get $500 at the start. You could like buy some plates. You could level up your gun with attachments and stuff to make the gun better. Or buy kill streaks or whatever, different types of grenades. And then you get put in to a 2v2 map against another team. You've got 12 lives. You've got a minute to whittle down as many lives of theirs and save as many lives of yours. The minute goes, you then go back out to the middle, and then, or not to the middle, but you go to like a sort of loading screen and you see everyone's lives, and you get put into a new 2v2 against a different team with a different amount of lives on a different map. And it keeps rotating round, and then every like 3 or 4 rounds you get back to the buy station in the middle, and you can then restock up on stuff. You can buy extra lives. Each map has 1 life in the middle of it that you can fight over, but obviously it's a very open area, so you can great fun game mode. Oh my goodness, like full pelt 2v2 tense, holding on to your lives, but then you're against another 2v2, and then you're against a different group of 2. It was really, really cool, I have to say. It was a great breath of fresh air, to the point where I'm going to get Vanguard because there's going to be, like, there was only 4 maps in it, and like 1, but there's more Champion Hill maps with 4 each in it, and obviously then there's the multiplayer. But what was great is that I want to say is that it's built on the Modern Warfare engine, which is what Warzone's built on, so it feels like Warzone. So it felt great.
I didn't realise they had different engines.
Oh yeah, Cold War's on like Black Ops Cold War's on a completely different engine and feels inferior, like totally inferior.
Wow.
To like if I've got it. I was playing a bit of it last night.
I think it'd be the other way around, because it looked so polished when I saw it in action.
Looked great, but it's the gunplay is nowhere near as good.
Well, you would know. I wouldn't.
Yeah, I still enjoyed Cold War to an extent. I played a bit more of it last night. I was kind of on a multiplayer, like more casual itch from the Vanguard thing, which I finished yesterday. So I was like, I'll jump in and play some more, and enjoyed my time a bit more with it than I had been previously. But no one's really playing. I say no one, but it's not got the same player base on Cold War anymore. Mm-hmm. Anyone who's left, it's just really sweaty, like really, really good at the game, and it's just not as fun. I used to be quite good at it when it was like...
Sounds like gaming hell to me.
Well, what's interesting, we were on Twitch. We were on Twitch, and there was something like 200 people watching Warzone right now. Do you know what I mean? Which is obviously quite a large number for that game, and Fortnite gets the same kind of numbers, and different games. Multiplayer doesn't get the same Twitch viewership, but Modern Warfare had 12,000 people watching, and Cold War had 4,000 people watching. So the COD game from the year before had more people interested on Twitch than Cold War, which is kind of like an indication of the sort of reception of each game.
I mean, stop me if I'm wrong, but it seems like the Modern Warfare brand is almost metastasized into its own. Like that seems to be the one whenever it comes round that people latch onto.
Oh well, absolutely, but
that is almost like the Call of Duty. Like everything in between is just like a lull until Modern Warfare is back. That's what we're after.
I mean, yeah,
because they've done what, 5? Because did they get up to 4 and then they rebooted it?
No, they did 3 and then rebooted it. But they did like Infinite Warfare and stuff like that. So they went
same.
It was futuristic.
Advanced Warfare?
Advanced Warfare was Sledgehammer.
Okay.
Sledgehammer are making this one, this upcoming one.
I can't keep
Vanguard.
up.
Yeah. Sledgehammer have done Advanced Warfare, World War II, and Vanguard.
Right. Yeah.
But World War II, I believe, I could be wrong, was on their own engine, but
Wasn't that was well received, wasn't it?
it was quite well received. I think it was quite unpolished, if I remember correctly.
There was one. Was it Battlefield 5 that was poorly received? I can't remember.
Battlefield 5 was also poorly received, for sure. But the Vanguard is, I think what they've done is they've learned their lesson, is because Warzone was so popular. Because, right, think about it. So, Treyarch made Black Ops 4 and released Blackout, which was the first COD Battle Royale game.
Of course.
People played it. Wasn't that popular. Like, it wasn't Warzone level of popular, obviously. Like, Warzone definitely overtook it. So, when Infinity Ward came out with Modern Warfare, people were really interested in Modern Warfare. That had the new engine.
Yeah.
Warzone didn't come out for another 5 months after Modern Warfare came out, but Modern Warfare was a really popular COD game. And then, I mean, they all are. They're the best sellers every year, but it doesn't matter. But as Call of Duty games go, I think it's already like the second best selling under COD 4, like the original Modern Warfare. I think something like that. And then Warzone obviously came out, hit at the beginning of lockdown, but it also needed to feel good as well. Like the gunplay is immaculate in that game, in my opinion, because it's built on that engine. So when Cold War came out, Warzone was only going to be out for 1 year, just like a Call of Duty game normally is, and then they were going to replace it with the next Battle Royale game, which was Blackout 2. So in Cold War, there's a bunch of big maps that they were going to make into one super Battle Royale sized map that they had to scrap the idea because Warzone was too popular. It was raking in so much money that they then instead integrated Cold War guns into the Modern Warfare engine, messed it up. So many guns were super overpowered and like it was a total mess. Balanced it out slightly. What's good is, this is such a long tangent. I'm so sorry if you don't like Call of Duty, but this is exciting for me. And the reason why it comes back to playing the Vanguard Alpha is that those guns are built on the same engine. They're going to come to Warzone, but we're not going to have that same problem because the guns are made in the engine that they're going to be put into the Battle Royale with.
They're listening to the community, guys.
Well, that's it. Exactly. They are, because Sledgehammer previously would not have made a game on the Modern Warfare engine, but everyone responded so well to it, and because that is the best one in most people's opinion, and so Sledgehammer are like, no, you don't put it on your engine, put it on, Infinity Wards, and there you go, full circle. But for all there's problems and money grubbing and Activision being greedy about their business, so do what they want. They do listen. They have been listening more, and it's nice as a fan of.
Well, they have to
of Warzone to. I was worried when it was getting announced that it was a World War II game that it was going to kind of ruin Warzone a little bit. But playing it and just seeing how they're kind of taking their liberties with it, like for example, you're getting like a reflex sight on your gun. Like in World War II, there wouldn't have been like these attachments and stuff like that. But the fact that it's still got like 5 attachments and you can go to the gunsmith and make your own classes and stuff has given me it's made me feel better about the game, and it's made me a bit more excited for it as well.
Yeah, no, I think realism went out the window a long time ago.
That's fine with me. I'm not needing it to be.
No, but I don't think that's what most people play Call of Duty for anyway.
So sorry, that's my long COD. I don't do many COD times.
Knee deep in COD.
For all that I've played 1,000 hours of Warzone in a year, I've not gone into too deep a COD thing. But it was more to say that it's nice to see them listening to the fans. It's nice to see them, appreciate what they do right, because there was some problems this year.
Gee, I wish Konami would do that with PES.
Oh my goodness.
Which, if we get onto Gamescom, we'll mention some of that. But what time are we at?
We're at
an hour.
A minute and 10. A minute and 10? Yeah, we've done a minute and 10, an hour and 10 minutes.
So fast at talking. Well, I had one more that I've been playing.
Let's do it.
So tried to leave it to best to last, but I'll try not to speak too much on it. Psychonauts 2.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's
Had
really.
you played the first one?
No.
Okay.
kind of wasn't that bothered about story stuff because I'm sure I'll get the main idea about it. Because let's be honest, it's fully abstract.
Yes.
It's not grounded in reality at all. So, I mean, you know, Last of Us style story is not pertinent here, let's be honest. But they do a really long, an obscenely long catch-up thing at the start, which I didn't realise. And yes, okay, I started this game on drugs, okay? That was just like, I didn't internalise any of that story from the first game. So I had no idea when I started the game. I was like, I didn't pay attention there at all. I completely was doing something else. I'll just let it play out. But it's fine because it's just a really great sort of throwback game. You know, what would you call it? Action platformer. You know, very much in the style of the kind of classic PS2 ones. You know, the old Ratchet and Clanks and.
You've sold it to me.
All that stuff. It looks incredible. It's really, really nice. Colours and stuff going on. Great HDR package. And yeah, no, I really like it. It explores some great themes. You know, it's really about. It's just a game about using your noggin, but in a sort of wholesome, endearing way.
Nice.
Essentially, there's a bit of a story there, you know, that follows on from the first game, but you know, you kind of have the main thread, and that's all that matters.
Okay. You
know, the quirky characters and stuff pull you through, and there's some.
I'm going to download that after this.
It's Schafer, so Tim. That's right, Tim Schafer. So he's obviously a smart guy. So that's splattered all over this game. Lots of great attention to detail, and I mean, it's slightly frustrating. You know, it does sort of bring almost like some frustrations of that PS2 era stuff with it, but it's not janky though. It does it in a smooth way. It kind of, yeah.
It annoys you smoothly.
I guess so.
Yeah.
No, I like it a lot, and it's probably what's gonna end up delaying me even more from when I eventually get around to Ratchet and Clank, because I'll be like, I've had my fill.
Well, I was thinking. I mean, I've still got time. I'm not working for a while with this. Because I can't stand for like 5 minutes, but
jeez,
it sucks, man. It's so bad. Yeah. Like it's like I went for a shower this morning, and I was like, Kerry, you're gonna need to like support me as I walk back through from the bathroom to the bedroom, because I was like in so much pain.
Goddamn.
Oh, it's so annoying. But anyway, took some painkillers. I'm good. Anyway, digression again. I've got time, but I was like, I'm going to get Ratchet after I finish Ghost of Tsushima. But then I had like the Vanguard Alpha, and then I had, you know, I want to play Hades. I've got that to play next. Mm-hmm. And then I now want to, you know, we'll play Psychonauts. But if anything, it's just delaying it till it goes down in price a little bit more.
That's it. I mean, I'm kind of thinking.
Speaking of cost, let's get into the main topic of the episode. No, I'm just kidding. Could you imagine?
Next time.
Next time. We were planning to do a bit of a cost debate but sort of chat on cost of games and things, but we'll save that for.
Well, I actually think it would seg quite nicely if we did it next, based on some of the themes that we've touched on today.
Yeah, so we can talk about that next time.
So we'll probably do that next time. But yeah, I don't know. I like it. You know, it's just a high quality. You know, I don't know what you would call it. Is it an action platformer? Is that what you would?
From what I've seen of it, it sounds like that's what it is. But
yeah, I always struggle to come up with labels, but yeah, I from what I understand, Ratchet and Clank is you can do it in like 8 hours, right?
I know, it's
10 hours,
very short.
Which is fine for me, but I'm not paying £70 for that privilege.
No. I would, if I'm going to play Ratchet, it's going to be 100%ed. Like I'm telling you now.
Oh God!
To get the money's worth out of it, but also because it's going to be so good. Like,
well,
I'm going to
you know, because even with Psychonauts, it's like. Because I look at these things up now.
How long to beat?
Yep. And
HLTV.
It's sounding like it's going to be around a 15-hour game.
I don't know if you'll cope. Goodness sake.
I think I'll just about cope. It'll depend how much it holds my attention.
Fair.
Because I never finished Doom. You know, I got to the last boss and I was just like, nah. I've been with this game for like 15 hours. I am done.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what your last cutscene is. I just don't care.
I don't care what your last cutscene is.
I really didn't. So we'll see.
Can you imagine doing that with like The Last of Us Part 2?
Ah, no, but that's...
You get to like... No, I won't spoil anything, but you get to the end and you're like, nah, and just turn it off.
That's like a whole other...
Kettle of fish.
Experience. It's a whole... I mean, you know, what can I tell you? Like, if any other game developers want to actually try and hold me in a cinematic sense, then go right ahead, but Naughty Dog's the only ones to do it. So
we always find a way to bring back our love of Naughty Dog into the podcast.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's the only, like a third-person game that I'm more than happy to give 20 hours of my time to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a drop in the ocean. Take it. Take my time. Take my money.
Yeah.
They know how to do it.
Absolutely.
Anyway, will we mention some Gamescom things, or
if you want to? To be honest, a lot of what I saw at Gamescom is really what we've spoken about. Obviously, seeing Vanguard and stuff in there as well. But
sure, Lego
Star Wars. Still excited. That's was
right.
Great. Yeah. Saints Row reboot. I was not expecting that.
Well, that's one of my notes. My note for this is can't think of a more off-putting thing to have seen. This looks like the worst game ever.
It looks like a sort of Ubisoft, like Watch Dogs kind of thing.
It's like,
as much as I do enjoy some of those.
We've dialed down the craziness, but have you? Because
it just looked like it had no character at all.
They've clearly just tried to tap into the whole Fortnite-esque.
Borderlands kind of humor. You know, it didn't look like Saints Row for sure.
It's the sort of thing, like, you know, if anyone has been collecting my thoughts on how I view games these days, it's pretty much the most sickening game that I could hope to see. From a single player sense, anyway.
Yeah.
No, not interested at all. And it's funny because I saw some games industry folk like, you know, what's the big deal with the backlash? You know, don't give these devs so much hate. Like, and I was like, what are they talking about? But I went and saw that the bit of this supposed backlash was that folks were actually wanting Saints Row to, and I didn't realise this, but there was a bit of apparently an appetite for Saints Row to turn it completely around and be like, fill the gap of like a GTA, be a competitor and be like, right, make it gritty and serious. Mm-hmm. Give us more of like a true crime type game. Yeah. If anyone remembers the true crime games, they were kind of weird, serious GTA type cop games. Which I would have been all for, you know, totally do that. Make it even less like, go back to Saints Row 1 and throw it through the floor and be like, this is totally like gritty. I don't know why anyone thought they would ever do that though. Like, I mean, that was never going to happen.
I don't know. It just like, I watched that whole trailer going, is this that? Like, remember that game at the end of the Xbox conference with the vampires and stuff?
Yeah.
It looks exactly the same as that, like visually.
The tone is
just... Is this that? Like, I can't even remember what that game's called. It's completely out of my mind and I don't care. And then it came up Saints Row and I was like,
yeah,
what? Like, nah. And I know Saints Row was weird, but I know what you mean. Like, there is as much as GTA is like the best-selling game of all time, or GTA 5 is, or second best-selling game of all time, there's still this gap in the single-player GTA market just now.
Totally.
You know, online it's its own thing, but
I think the closest that tried it in recent years was Mafia 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Mafia 3 it was good, not great. That was it. It was so close. It
wasn't quite there for me. I was always intrigued by the story. I really wanted to.
The first couple hours, I was like, "This is it. I'm gonna play it." And then it just kind of Just sort of, it became. See, it's one of these games. See, once I discovered that you could whistle someone over from cover, and they only come over one by one, and you could just do that. I was like, I mean, I know I could just not do that, but I'm just gonna do that, and that's
lazy game designing.
It is. That is like that's so. It's happened so often. Less so now. I've not come across a sort of similar thing in a while, but that was the most recent example of like. Just hiding behind the cover and like, oh, what was that? Oh, must have been the wind, you know, and then there they come over.
But, you know, I think I don't worry too much because I think it's fine just having GTA doing what it does. Because, well, GTA it's not a serious game at all. It's satire.
Yeah.
They're just satire games and that's fine. You know, no one can touch them, so whatever.
Not long till we can, well, I'll play. I'm going to play the story.
No, I will... You know, probably at least attempt to play through the story of 5. See how far I get. But
I think 2014 was the last time I did, so it's been a while.
But that's the thing. It comes back always to the Last of Us effect. Like the writing is so good in it that it does hold your attention.
Definitely.
You know. So
anyway, I don't think there's much more of a Gamescom. There's a game called Doki V that was.
Oh well, I sort of saw it, but I can't remember what it.
I can't put I don't know what it is. They showed like way too long a trailer. It was like 3.5 minutes long, something stupid.
Okay.
Looks stunning, but also terrible. It's so weird. Like you need to watch the trailer. Like
I'd need to look
it's
at that
very
maybe.
realistic looking with very unrealistic looking characters and like actions that you're doing, and it's kind of Pokemon like where you're collecting like monsters. But then like this world and backdrop that it's set in looks like. And I was watching it on like a compressed YouTube stream and it looked amazing.
Yeah.
But it kind of looked fake. Like it looks like the game doesn't exist. It's so weird.
A lot of the time these things are too good to be true.
It seems like that we're going to get a very different final product from what it was. But I could be wrong. Could be totally wrong. And then also my main takeaway was that early 2022 is going to be stacked. The amount of things that were like, we've had to delay to early 2022.
Well, Horizon got the release
Horizon
date.
got the, yep.
Which I will play in 3 years' time.
I will play on day one.
We'll see. I might.
You'll hear my opinions on day one.
Yeah. But that's just where I'm at. You know, I'm definitely not against playing these big ass games now, but
big ass games.
There's a huge chance that I'll wait until it's vastly reduced in price.
That's fair.
Yeah. Well, when I think about early 2022, just even for me, there's a few. Stray. I really like the look of Stray. That cat game.
Oh yeah, that was great.
That looks. Yeah. I'm all in for that one. And then stuff like, you know, Stalker 2.
Yep.
Give me some of that horror shooter. For example. But yeah, there was stuff like that wasn't actually at Gamescom though.
No.
A few games that I was hoping to see weren't even there. Like, what's happened to Scorn? Where is it? I'm getting concerned about this now. I was looking forward to that game, but who knows? There's lots. I mean, there was so many indies being shown off at all. They were just like coming at you. They were being fired at you at all angles every day. So there was lots that I was into and lots that I wasn't. So I can't say anything more than
let's see what goes on Game Pass and what tickles your fancy when you play it.
Yeah, what's cheap enough for me to buy or whatever. Like.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's kind of all I can say about that. xCloud, they kind of showed that off coming to consoles. It just looks like a good PlayStation Now, to be honest.
We'll see.
Maybe.
I'm skeptical.
Well, I think it does depend a lot on the strength of your connection, I guess. But
I've had a better experience on my internet with my PlayStation Now free trial than I did with playing Cloud on my phone or tablet or computer. I tried it on the computer as well.
I wonder if there's something to do with just the talking that it has to do with getting it on certain devices or whatever.
Maybe it doesn't like Apple devices for obvious reasons, Microsoft and Apple.
Well, who knows? But they're certainly trying to show off the idea that it's a well-functioning PlayStation Now. Because I didn't even try streaming anything on Now. I was like, nah.
I dabbled in it. Not any length of time, but I definitely was able to play stuff.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, it's hardly even important to me, to be honest. If I want to play a game, I will download it.
Yes. Oh no, that'll be always the preference.
Get video compression out of my life.
100%.
Just get it away.
100%.
I don't need any of that. What's the last note I've even got is just what a way to end for both of us, because we both love football games.
Oh, there was a free-to-play football game. A new
Well, of course.
football game.
UFL. So I'm very intrigued about that.
UFL, of course.
Really, all I'm looking for is just a core gameplay experience that can go up against the main two, because eFootball it continues to look terrible. It just looks terrible. It is so disheartening to the small PES community that exists, but we are here. We do exist, and we're just like, because clearly what they're doing, they're trying to like amalgamate it into the you can play against mobile players on a console. Apparently you'll be able to filter that out, and it'll scale it back up to the full console experience somehow. But the sheer fact that they're making the compromises to just stuff it all in, because actually, if anyone had actually seen what had been going on with PES in the last few years, somehow their biggest money-making market came in the Far East with the mobile version somehow. I think Indians or something got really into PES on mobile.
Wow.
Like the free-to-play mobile, and giving them money because it was their version of like the card game that you see in football games now, which I've never, ever, ever, ever gotten into.
No.
I'm so old school, I didn't even give it a sniff. Don't care, not interested, sorry. I play against AI. Your AI has to be good. Give me a good game to play solo. And it looks like the warning signs are all there. The trailers are awful. Color scheme is terrible. The graphics look terrible. They've given up on translating properly. It's so funny. Their trailers in recent years were kind of good. I think they seemed like they hired people to do, right, let's get our communication a bit better. Mm-hmm. A bit better, okay? But they've given up. They've just put it in Google Translate, and it looks like they're going to compromise the core game of what PES is significantly, which is extremely disappointing.
Oh, it's so rough.
The only silver lining is that all 3 of the football games that will be coming out, I'll be able to play for free.
There you go.
So get it up, you. I will play something, but I'm sad about the state of affairs.
Well, what a lovely downer to go on. The hamsters in this room and going to town on that water bottle. Just having a great time. I don't think the microphones will pick that up, but if they do, that's what that is. A small chittering, chapping noise.
I thought it was supposed to be nocturnal.
Well, I think it's just a bit thirsty, you know what I mean?
Just goes with the wind.
It's, as we keep saying it, he's so weird because I don't know if you've, at night, he just sits on his wheel.
Oh yeah, no, I saw it. He just stares at you.
He just stares.
Just goes into a lump.
He just full flops in a marshmallow lump.
Well, that was the last time I was here, I saw that. I was like,
it's hilarious.
Why?
It's so funny. So funny. So
is it a recent behavioural thing?
Fairly recent, yeah, in the past couple of months.
I genuinely wonder what that means.
He's just getting old. He's past his midlife.
Just sitting on the porch.
Yeah, he's just an old man sitting on the porch now,
watching the world go by,
watching our office go by. Anyway, that's wow. We really filled an episode here, didn't we?
I told you.
You did tell me. I was a bit like, this might be 45 minutes. No. But we had a lot to say. We'll finish up there just now because I need to sit down on a comfy seat because uncomfy. So Well, thanks for bearing with us with our delay on this episode, and thanks for bearing with us on kind of finding out that there was a lot more to talk about than we had originally planned. So we hope you enjoy it. We'll like to do this kind of catch-up episode every so often when we've really been playing quite a lot of games. It's fun for us to do. So hopefully you enjoy listening to it as well, because it is it's nice not to have to properly research, and we can just talk about our feelings of things, and it was easier on me for preparing for the episode as well, which is
nice
good.
Nice and cash,
but we'll nice and Johnny Cash. But we'll finish up there. We hope you enjoyed listening, check us out on the socials, do all the things, and goodbye.
Bye.